Hey guys, Thomas Cecilia Jr. here, aka Mustached. I'm here to view the movie The Suffering, and boy, I felt like I was the one doing the suffering in this movie, as the pacing of this movie just felt so glacial and slow, and to give the movie its credit where credit is due, I did enjoy the ending of the movie, but in order to get to that ending, and the other highlight I'll give the movie before I go into it is the music. I thought the music was great, a great accompaniment to the movie, but the rest of the movie to get to the ending was just way too slow, and it was all surrounded by slow pacing, too much lore, which is something I don't say very often, but one scene's enough. You should be able to start to pick up on certain things after that. You don't need to have two more scenes following that are just going so slow, and the characters don't seem that very interesting, at least during those times. What's being provided just doesn't seem to fit. Um, but yeah, I'll give the ending its credit. It was interesting that this sort of actually reminded me of that Bruce Willis movie where he's dead. The name escapes me right now, but essentially this guy, he's like some sort of salesperson or something, or like he catalogs stuff. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but he also happens to take photography and he takes pictures. Um, so he gets pictures and he sees stuff, and the movie does unfortunately rely on really obvious jump scares, which to me, this movie actually didn't need any of those, to be quite honest. I think if it had focused on building on the lore, but building it around the actual finale, I think this movie could have been a lot better. So we run into these other characters, and it turns out that the characters that we are seeing that have been suffering in the hands of this guy, turns out they are representative of the seven deadly sins, and they're all actually dead or something, and that they all must repent by doing a certain act that is associated with the seven deadly sins. And the guy we mainly follow, his sin is lust, and the movie does hint toward that a little bit closer, as well as the woman that he's in love with. But the other sins are a lot harder to follow, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. I don't really see the connection between those individuals and the sins they committed, because there isn't enough time spent on them rather than this guy just talking about stuff about the house or whatever he's talking about. It didn't really gain my interest. So that was the main issue with this movie for me, is its attention was somewhere, it felt like it was somewhere else for so long, and at the end all this crazy stuff happens, and it feels like it's just like too much stuff going on, overload. Like, just take take a moment, expand what you're doing at the end to the rest of the film, and you can have yourself a great film without having to rely on obvious jump scares, and make the character a little bit more interesting. You know, I felt like as the movie went further on, it became a little bit more and more on the nose about what was going on. I mean, it never really clicked per se, which was probably the best part. At least for our first time around, I probably wouldn't ever watch this movie a second time. I mean, it's that boring. It's just not worth a second watch, in my opinion. But as far as a score goes, I'm gonna have to give this movie a 3 out of 10. Uh, 2 of those points I'll give toward the music, and the last point being the ending. I felt like everything else was just way too long, way too insufferable, if I may add a pun in here. But it is just not a great movie for me, and I guess it's worth a watch, but it's gonna take a bit to get to that point, to those short, really, really short points. So take it as it is. Anyways, with that being said, I'm Thomas DeSilla Jr., aka Mustache Tom, and I'll see you guys next time.